Hello everyone, welcome back to another reaction video. This time we'll be reacting to The Lion and the Cycle of Abuse by Mr. Bones. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification bell. I also want to give out a huge shout out to the Goblin and the Fallen Cow. Without further ado, let's do this.
Hi. I'm Arthur, and we
Kratos.
are taking a break from the iceberg videos as they
Oh my
take a lot out
Christ.
of me to actually get done, and I'm doing something familiar in its place. I'm starting a duo series this week and next week, where next week I'm starting part 1 of the next Meet the Chapters season with the theme of fan favorite chapters, and this week we are going with Meet the Primarchs. I'm going to be discussing a bit more in depth about not so much the lore, but the perspective on the characters of the Primarchs themselves. I'll rotate between these two ideas every week, so what is this video about? Jesus, that's dark. Neat! So yeah,
Hooray!
I'm covering the First Legion's father, the Primarch of the Dark Angels, Lionel
Yep.
Johnson. The Lion is a character that I have been thinking about a lot. For context, when I first got into Warhammer 40k, I never really cared about the Dark Angels.
Oh yeah, I sort of feel the same way as well. Ever since I watch, you know, Bricky's Primarch and his Legions, also a huge shout out. Go watch his videos. It made me feel like less, like not caring so much about them because they seems pretty selfish, and just bunch of dicks. But once I started to understand more and more, and watching some videos and reading about them, it really gives me like a better perspective on why they are the way they are. And it's very amazing how they could be the most shadiest person, basically Batman on no morality, and become sort of Boy Scout ish, more honor and more respect. And that's just amazing. And I really highly recommend The Son of the Forest to you guys because it's such a good read.
As a Legion, or even
Oh,
Lionel
sorry.
Johnson as a Primarch, he was kind of low on my list as just kind of bland. But as
Yeah,
I've been reading The Horus Heresy and more
just
of
Captain
the up-to-date
Genocide.
books on what's going on in the setting, I've been gaining a lot of newfound insight into his character that I think is very fun. Same with all the Primarchs and their individualistic issues. So getting into the Lion, let's not focus as much on what he has done for now. This isn't going to be your typical lore video. I'm more trying to put together a bit of a character study of who the Lion is and how you can exemplify his character arc as a person, and what can be
Okay.
learned from him as a character. So who is this character? A well-oiled machine, an exacting taskmaster, and a vital component to many different campaigns of war. See, landing on Caliban, the Lion was lost to the forest for quite a lot longer than he probably should have been to come out a healthy person, and ended up taking in a very instinctual view of the world. Going through said forest alone, you need to be able to handle the hidden paths or be jumped by one of the great beasts that roam there. You either learn how to survive on your own by being as efficient as humanly possible, or you die. He
So
is a living
basically
example
like
of
Ark
Occam's
survival.
razor. The path of least resistance is often the best path to go through. At least during the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy era itself, I should note. He is an exacting Primarch and expects no less than perfection from his troops. It shows in his relationship with those that fail, and those that listen to him 100%. If you follow the letter of his plan, then he will look at you with the utmost respect, similar to that of a man who sees a very good tool in his tool belt. If you do not, then he discards you like you are an unnecessary tool that is going against what he wants.
Yeah, pretty
Though I will
much
say it isn't with
subject
any
his
malice on
personality.
his part. A good example from my recollection, and probably one of the better examples to the point that I'm trying to make, is the level of envy his surrogate father felt towards him,
Ah,
leading to
Luther.
Luther, said surrogate father, being banished back to Caliban for almost killing the Lion with a stowed nuclear device. Basically, the Lion felt something was up. and sent his father home to do a task that he knew his father could do. Disregarding the emotions, concerns, and reasoning behind why Luther would or could do something like that is a level of neglect that was very much bred into him from the Emperor and even from the beasts of Caliban. Because the beasts don't care if you live or die, they simply want to consume you.
Yeah, if you can picture that, like imagine yourself, just trying your best, trying to, have a better society. You are in charge with so many brothers and sisters, and which they all die in your missions, and you can just barely scrape your progress. And all of a sudden, this person just shows up out of nowhere and just does it with the greatest of ease. It can really make someone so like question themselves, really, like, what am I here for? What is my purpose? It really shows how much, human these characters are, despite, in 40K, everyone looks like, super soldiers and why not, but it just shows how much, like, humanity is still left on them, and it's pretty cool.
And the Emperor has a very much the ends justify the means mentality for a lot of his life. The Dark Angels are known to be the greatest weapon of mankind.
Oh,
They have
yes.
access to a bunch of
I've
Dark Angel
heard I've heard they
technology
were the
bullshit that
Emperor's
honestly
favorite.
frightens me. That it's still around for some reason. Yeah, the plasma burners, the phosphex weapons, which, side
Damn.
note, phosphex weapons should probably be a bit stronger than they actually are in the Warhammer universe on the tabletop. Yeah, strength 5 -1, my asshole, dude. Phosphex is so dangerous, it can burn in the vacuum of space that defies
Really?
logic. And also, additional side note, it's considered so dangerous that it's more or less in the same category as the Life Eater virus, which is used to
Oh
exterminatus
my
planets.
god.
But I digress. You
Is that gonna be in Dawn of War 4? Because if it is, then, well, is there be a point of playing it? Because you basically have a goddamn nuke with your side. But anyway, let's continue.
give a man with the mentality of a beast more or less unlimited power, and he is left with simply the task of accomplishing whatever goal you choose for him. He grows cold and even bitter, treating
Yeah.
those around him as tools rather than brothers or comrades, even showing a bit of bitterness at his own brother being chosen over him in a leader position when in fact it doesn't really matter that much. This culminates in when he returns to Caliban during the heresy to find that Luther, the tool he discarded, Luther, his father figure of old, and Luther, the old knight of the order that taught him everything he knew, ended up falling to the influence of his own envy at the level of accomplishment the lion has accomplished.
Yeah.
See, in any other generation, Luther would have been one of the most standout human beings in the history of Caliban. But because he existed in the same time period the lion showed up, it's impossible for him to not be overshadowed by that. So he was sent back to Caliban to raise more Dark Angels in a recruitment campaign. And upon the lion returning, he had spread the rumor that the lion had betrayed the Imperium and decided to fire upon them without any recourse or any reason to do so. When the lion showed up, the lion got irritated about his sons becoming
Yep.
traitors, and without a second
Just
thought, he
straight up
fired
went all
on Caliban
Doomslayer.
and went to war. Eventually, the planet was destroyed. Some of the members of the Dark Angels on the planet fleeing into the warp, some of them hiding amongst regular members of the Dark Angels, but all of them carrying the scar of seeing the lion kill his own sons with the same level of hate and anger he used for anyone who opposed him.
Yeah, essentially they just saw that and they just accepted their fate because the lion, when he is set on like a mission or an action, he will do it. Like there's no like talking him out of it. He will do it. I mean, there have been many occasions. There was the time that he just destroyed a lot of planets, from Gilliman's empire in secret because he was like because of like Conrad Curse, which by the way, Conrad Curse is such a troll during the Horus Heresy, like the biggest troll. And it may be a huge fan of Conor Curse, but yeah, he just see an action and he will take it. There is no what ifs, there is no buts. He will go to it, and it's very cool to establish that weakness in the son of the forest, because it really shows you how much he grows and wants to change. And he's gonna get to that later, but I just want to give you guys that viewpoint.
It is a kind of generational level of trauma that had long lasting repercussions
Yep.
because his sons that stayed loyal ended up going far and above with the idea that he was right. The people who were on Caliban at that time should be hunted out of existence and should be shown no quarter whatsoever. They are traitors and should be tortured for that, not even
Yeah.
given a trial.
If you start to pay attention, feels like, how family dynamic works. When the father do something fucked up, the son would do it as well. It's very like so, related, and it's very cool to, to acknowledge that. People just see these primars as these demigods. Some fallen because of themselves, some I accidentally, I'm so sorry. Okay, but yeah, some fallen because of themselves, others have have issues because their childhood. But once you start to like see the symbolic interactions, you notice like they're more human than anyone, anyone that thought of. I just want to point that out. I'm sorry for pausing a lot, but he's bringing out so much good points and key details of the lion, character of the lion's character. Yeah.
This is all some pretty dark shit, but follow me on this as I ask you all a simple question. Do they deserve it? The answer came in a book that is oddly enough high in my rankings, and I suggest you all read it even if you don't know much about the setting, which is the Son of the Forest
Yep.
book. This book
One of my
had the
favorite
lion
books ever.
waking up in a deep forest, likely the place where the Watchers dwell, having to deal with very abstract imagery of what is actually going on. A fisherman in the middle of a dark lake with monsters swimming just below the surface waiting for him to get out. Entities that take the shape of his brothers to accost him and accuse him of the worst behaviors ever. It's very interesting. But he leaves the forest to find one of his
Basically, a
sons,
good
one of
way
the
to
sons who lived on
do
Caliban
therapy.
when he bombed it. It is revealed that Zabriel, the person in question, that they were simply defending themselves, and about 70% of the Dark Angels on Caliban didn't know why the lion was attacking them. It was only very evident that their father showed up and was cleaving them in half with a chainsword roughly 10 feet long. It was revealed that the lion didn't even think that was an option. See, to him it was black and white, that he saw them as traitors 100% and deserving of death, nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah.
So he killed them, like he would anything else that would fit that moniker, which let the rest of his legion know to do the same, leading by example. When you take away nuance in terms of that kind of interpretation, it can cause a lot of issues. The
Mm-hmm.
entire book, The Son of the Forest, is all about the lion himself coming to terms with the fact that he has started a cycle of abuse and violence that is perpetuating into the modern day of the Warhammer 40k setting, long past when he was thought dead or forever missing. He realizes something that I think we all need to acknowledge. Nobility at the cost of ethics is tyranny no matter how you slice it.
Oh,
And
definitely,
he
100%.
realizes that he needs to be better. It's something I relate to a lot. Now, I'm not going to get too
Oh, same here.
personally, but I relate to the idea of someone trying to end the cycle of abuse and realizing they were the one to perpetuate it.
Well, for me, I relate on because I just want to change and be more, be more accepted for society. For the lion, he didn't like have time to be more social because he didn't see it as important. He was just focused on his duty. That's similar to me. I just focused on my education when I was in middle school and didn't care about having, more interactions with everyone because, I feel like it's a waste of time and may, screw me over. So, yeah, it's very relatable. if you think about it. Let me know if you have any like relatability like that, or if you know someone like that. I'll be curious.
Far after it was already done. The lion is a very complicated character and is still prone to bouts of destructive pragmatism, but he is trying his best. If this sounds familiar, it's because it is. The modern day God of War series, starring
Hey,
Kratos and his son Atreus, is really
hopefully
in the
it's hard.
same category in terms of level of growth, where someone who was
Just
incredibly
wanna,
destructive and prone to bouts of
full screen,
uncaring for the purpose of accomplishing a bloody
not full
goal
screen,
has to
but
learn
you
to
know what I mean.
grow and become a better man. And that's what the Lion
Yep.
story is all about. It
I don't know
mirrors
why people
Kratos'
don't like
story
this type
relatively
of Kratos.
closely
I
with
think
his
it's pretty
sons
cool.
and Atreus. I think a small point that is emblematic of this change in his character is that the item he receives from the Emperor is not his sword or even a weapon or his armor. It is a shield. It is symbolically showing that he is
Yeah,
no
the
longer
Emperor's
someone who is
shield,
perpetuating this long-standing
probably
cycle
one
of
of the most
violence
powerful
and
items
wants to
ever.
be better as a result. It shows that he's no longer as focused on murdering every single person that crosses him or the Imperium, but
Yeah, all
instead
he wants.
focusing on the protection of
Yeah,
the world around him and the protection of those that he's
which is cool. It really is a cool symbolic way. In the Son of the Forest, he just wants to protect. Nothing more, nothing less. He doesn't want to rule. He just wants to protect the weak, which is an awesome character development.
grown to care about. I do think it's really funny for people in the community to ask something akin to, why not give him the sword? He's a sword man, and Gilliman needs the shield more because he's more of a logistician, when it defeats the whole
Yeah,
purpose of his character arc.
yeah.
In the
Essentially,
end,
that's how it
all of that
is.
aside, the cycle must be broken, or you could turn it into something far
Oh,
worse, which we
yes,
will be
far
covering in a
worse.
later video. But for now, this is my perspective on the lion and his journey to become a better man. I think it is important to think on these characters' ideals and wants more so than thinking about their actions, as you can learn more about their personalities by the inferences made during
Yeah.
their decisions rather than going off of what they say and the interpretations of other characters in the stories. It's a lot more fulfilling for me that way. So what do you all think? Think Kratos and the lion have a lot in common? Think they both share a common goal of
I think
being
so.
better for their sons? Let me know in the comments. I wanted to kind of go back to my roots and cover more conceptual ideas, so I think a Primarch profile series is going to be interesting. Also, remember to like and subscribe, and please buy
Be
my
sure
merch.
to do that,
Alongside
actually.
that,
And
special thanks to my
buy his
channel
merch.
members for supporting me. And if you
Yeah,
want to
if you guys
support
want
me
to
as well as
support
gain
them, you
access
can
to
do so.
additional content, then become a channel member today. Thanks again for watching. David Jaffe can suck my ass.
Okay. But yeah, I think this is a very good like characteristic on the lion once thought himself as a weapon. Now he can be so much more. He can be a protector, which is very cool. I'm very excited of Dawn of War. Really, I really want to know, not just how they will handle the lion, but what will he like say to the Blood Ravens? Because I've been told that most of the shit that the Blood Ravens take, Dark Angels tech. So what will he say and what will he do? That's like the $1 million question. I think this will be the test on if the lion has changed or not, or change a little bit. We don't know. But thank you so much for watching this reaction video. I will leave the original video in the link description down below. Also, again, a huge shout out to Guna Goblin and the Fallen Cow for watching my reaction videos. It was such an honor, and I hope y'all have a good and wonderful day. Bye.